Today's exercise is about validation control. So I hope you all learned something last week. So I'll click the start button. You all enjoy the exercise. Finishing already. Both Russell and Jeremiah got 4 streaks. Someone got a nice today. So let's wait for a minute. Home is not here. Let's see apply for you. Okay. One of the power ups is, what is it? One of the power ups is time freeze, right? Okay, time freeze, and so on, or double up your points, or the double or nothing, and so on. Yeah, because only 5 questions, and normally it appear towards the end. Okay, I think we are finishing already. Okay, look at the accuracy. Woohoo! Oh, I think this is the first time I saw Celine's name at the top there. Okay. Copy the practice link for you all. Oh yeah, I think last week, Daniel, you applied for leave. So when I was taking the attendance scan, I saw your status as leave. But then I did put a remark there that you are present, attended the presentation. Same goes to Shakla the other day, in case you want to practice. Okay, so let's see. Oh, the toughest question. The regular expression. I have my reason to give you all this question because I would love you all to like sort of at least memorize some of it, the regular expression, the pattern. In fact, when you did your web design and development for the chapter on creating web form, for HTML5, there is pattern attribute. So this is similar. Okay, let's see. Oh, 9 answered incorrectly. Let's see the question. Okay, I chose the easiest. Okay, the one in the bracket means it's either M or N. Okay, it should start with either M or N, and then ends with AP. But then you need to know, what does the question mark means? Okay, so now I open our slide. Let me show you. Oopsie. Okay, what does question mark means? It means it matches 0 or 1 occurrences of the preceding element. It means it matches 0M or at least 1M, okay, or 0N or at least 1N. And then ends with AP. So what do you think? Yeah, the question mark. So the question mark is like a quantifier. Okay, a quantifier means how many times it occurs. So for question mark, it's 0 or 1. Asterisk means 0 or more occurrences. Is there any? And then plus 1 or more occurrences. So at least if you all know the quantifier, the plus, question mark, and asterisk should be good enough. Okay, and then as for the one in the bracket, it means any character. Okay, matches any character included between the brackets. So for this example, it can be either A, okay, or B, or C, or D. So ours is M or N. But then if there is a dash or hyphen, it means matches any characters in this particular range, but there is no hyphen, kan? So in this case, it's either M or N, and then what was say question mark means already, 0 or 1. Okay, so who got this correct? Let me see. Oh, 5 students got this correct. Let's see. Oh, Russell got this correct. So it should map to MAP, NAP, and AP. Why AP? Because 0 occurrence. Okay. Or redemption ka? But then at least you learn something kan? Or you remember the answer. But then I guess because it's too quick, you guys just memorize the answer, hopefully to memorize the answer. But that's the meaning of the regular pattern. So I really hope you all try to like make your regular expression, how to pronounce that, regex, R-E-G, regular expression, regex, okay, regex, regular expression. Oh, Jonathan also got it correct. Jeremiah, Lim, how also? Okay. Now, what are the things? This is also the longest question. One question less than 40%. Yeah, the last question. Okay, how about we look at the other questions? The 2 or more validators can be associated with the same input control. Is this true? Oh, 100%. That's cool. Okay, definitely. Then you will always remember this once you do a practice. Tomorrow there will be a practical question on this. This validator matches the entered text against a specified pattern. Okay, should be easy. This validator property sets the message that is displayed in the validator. So this one should be the text, not the error message. Let's see, because I remembered, yeah, the text. Okay, not error message. I'm hoping that if you all got this wrong, it's either error message or text. Okay, error message, yeah. Or display tak ada, display non-existent. Error message. Okay, let me see. I think I remember showing you all my demo last week, and then I got myself confused, right? In fact, it's correct. Let's see. Hang on, I'm opening my Visual Studio. Okay, while my Visual Studio is open, my demo. Okay, and then what else? Select the appropriate validators for this. Okay, for this, we have password. Normally, password, it should be a required field, kan? A confirm password. So for confirm password, it should be compare. Okay, to compare with the value entered in the password field. And then I see there's an age, so I believe we can check for valid age as well. The one that is not appropriate for this example is the regular expression, because over here it doesn't like mention password must consist of at least 8 characters. It's not shown there. This one is valid. Otherwise, if there's a message saying that I must have at least one number, okay, or and so on, okay, then you should input regular expression validator. Okay, any more? This is the question number 5. Okay, let's move this out of the way and let me bring you my Visual Studio. Where was it? Yeah, this is the one. Okay, so let's see. This is a required field, meaning this name must be entered. Let's see. I put a text here. Okay, the one that I missed out the other day was to read the explanation. Text to display for the validator when the validated control is invalid. So meaning the asterisk will be displayed when it is invalid. Okay, but then the difference between text and error message is that for error message, let me show you the explanation. It says here, a message to display in a validation summary when the validated control is invalid. So validation summary, let's see, where's the validation summary? Like here. So if I have this validation summary, so the name is validation summary, I can choose, or perhaps I change it to red color. Okay, what else? Show. Okay, I just want, I don't want to show the message box, but I just want to show the summary, means show the error message here. If I don't choose a show summary, but then I make the show message box as true, means the error message will be displayed in the dialog box. What else do I need to include? Let's see. I hope I didn't miss anything. Okay, let's go back to my required field validator. Say I have a message required field. Say name is a required field. So error message will be displayed in the validation summary if it is invalid. Okay, and then the text over here, it will be displayed in the validator when the validated control is invalid. So there's one more where the display, display, just now shucks selected display. Yeah, ada pula. Totally forgot about that. Display memang ada, but then display is, you said either static or dynamic. It means you can control how the validator is displayed. Definitely we don't select none. It's either static or dynamic. Static means in this particular location where you place your did I select anything? Okay. Hang on. Okay. Oh, something is wrong. You see, you can see that something is wrong. Let me save this. Okay, this one. Oh, is it I need to upgrade my Visual Studio? But then the other day, Hao told me, and then Nathan also informed me that this after upgrading, your query doesn't work, right? So mine is, I haven't updated it yet. Okay, now it's good. Name is a required field. Control to validate is text box 1, which is this. And then say I want to move it. Oh, why I cannot move this? Oh, perhaps I need to, where's my display just now? If you select it as dynamic, it means it will be displayed next to the text box. Okay, but then if you place it somewhere else, because sometimes if you look at the other online form, right, they can put the error message at the top, okay, or perhaps at the bottom. I don't really like if they display it at the bottom, because I was normally I will wait. Oh, already enter. Why is it not working? Error message is actually at the bottom, so I need to scroll down. Then I can see this is I miss out one particular field. So better you can put it on top. Then you can choose static or dynamic, means always placed next to the text box. Okay, let's see. Run the program. Validation control is included in your assignment question. So this is quite straightforward. Name. So I click submit. Okay. So I have my validation summary here as well, right? And then this is my text display. So you can either display it on the summary, or perhaps you want to display on a message box. Okay, where's the message box? Show. Oh, I need to select. Oh no, I need to select the validation summary. Okay, how about I set this to true? So if that one is true, so my show summary, I make it as false. See what happened. So this is a message box. Click OK. So I hope this one clear things up. Okay, and let me see. As for today, let's look at the assignment question, because I always like to show to students the content that we are learning for today, how it will be used for the test car, for the assignment car, or the assessment car. But ours is 100% assignment. Huh? Okay, so validation control, basic mention here. Segment, you already learned this. We haven't learned exception handling. Exception handling will be covered next week. Okay, inputs are validated. So I'm sure group members should be able to do this input validation. And for today, we will learn all about user control. Okay, so user control is another thing that is important for us for the assignment. Okay, let me show you. Just okay, hang on. So far, what do we have in the Microsoft Visual Studio? So this is our toolbox, right? So we have all these standard toolbox. Okay, so this is my text box. Then if you see ASP run at server, this is our server control. Okay, what else? We have used our data control. We have used our navigation control. We even use our login control, right? And then tomorrow you will be using the validation control, okay, which is this one. Okay, validation control. We haven't done the practical for validation control yet. The one that we are going to do today, user control. So where is user control? Adakah? User control. Tak ada. Okay, so we'll start with the lecture right after our short break. Okay, what is the user control? So the time now is 9:30. How about we go for a 5 minutes break? Or we all need to go for longer breaks. Perhaps you want to get yourself a simple breakfast first, 10 minutes. Okay, I'll give you all 10 minutes. Okay, recharge yourself. So I'll be back. Okay, so for today, we are doing it a little bit different, right? Okay, asking you to do this discussion in the breakout room. Now, for every group, I want you to explain your answer. Okay, I think the first group is ready. So who's going to explain? Farah or Kelvin? You can turn on your mic.
I present.
Okay, so explain the interpretation for that regular expression, Kelvin.
The expression says there must be exactly 5 digits for the input. And then the valid input is like 5 digits, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the invalid input is anything that's not a digit, cannot be used, and there cannot be less than 4. There cannot be 4 digits or like more than 5 digits, like that.
Okay, good. This is the simplest one. If you see this curly brace, that one in fact tell us the number, correct? Now, how about the second group? Who's going to explain? Either Daniel or Lim?
Wait a minute.
All right.
Okay. Based on what I can understanding, okay. It's matching any words which is W. It must be at least eight word for me. So our valid for valid input we put 748, which is contain 8 word. For
So
valid
this
input we
word mean what? What does word means?
any word. Find a match any word.
So it include number.
Include a number at least 8.
So if you refer to our slide, W means any word character, lowercase a to z, uppercase a to z, and also digit 0 to 9. Okay, so that's the meaning of word. Okay, matches any word character.
But you also can contain numeric or miss.
Yes. That's what I mentioned just now, including digit 0 to 9. Yes. Okay. How about the invalid input?
Invalid input we call C hashtag closer. See, this one is our invalid input, at least which is only contain only five character. Does not contain. We just put it at least indeed at least 8 character. Character and numeric without any symbol, because two of these things are symbols.
Okay, thank you. How about the third group? Wow, okay.
Okay, I will present our group's answer. So if you look at here, there's a digit, tree, hyphen or dash, digit, and 7 or 8. So we interpret it as the first part is a 3-digit number, and then followed by a hyphen or a dash, and then followed by a 7 or 8-digit number. That. So for the examples of valid input, so you can see here like there are 5 here. All of these are following the correct format of the given expression. So let's say for the first one, we have a 3-digit number, then a dash, and then we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-digit number here. So this is following the valid input of the expression. So for the second one, it's the same thing, 3, and then this one, it has 8-digit. So it's also following the expression. So this is valid. And then the rest of it
So
is...
it looks like a phone number.
Yeah, it is a phone number actually, but then yeah, we just random. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the valid input. And then for the invalid input, we have some examples here. So for example, the first example, we can see like there's I highlighted the part where it's invalid. So here it only contains 2, which it's incorrect because we need a 3-digit. So this is invalid. For the second one, this is 6-digit number, but we need a 7 to 8. So this is invalid. And then for this one, we cannot contain any of the alphabets or any other values that are other than numbers. So this is incorrect. This is invalid as well. So for the last one, you cannot include any of the values other than numbers in both of the fields for the first part and then the second part of the expression. So all of these are invalids of examples of invalid inputs for this expression.
Okay, very good. What does D means already? 0 to 9?
Digit. Yes, 0 to 9.
Okay, perhaps you can put that one in. Okay, let's go to the next group. Okay, Nathan's group. Who's going to explain?
I will present.
Okay, Nathan.
So for our interpretation, the string must contain between 1 to 8 characters because W/W118, where it should include 3 to
Do you
4.
still remember what does W means?
It match any character A to Z and 0 to 9,
Okay.
and it should include 3 to 4 alphabetical lowercase character A to Z. So for the valid, there are 9 characters. 1 to 8 characters, and it has 3 to 4 lowercase character. So for the second one, it has 9 characters. It has 1, 2, 3. And there are 3 to 4 lowercase character.
I
So
think
for the
there's
invalid
something
one,
missing.
what?
There's something missing. After the first part, there is a period, dot. Do you see
Only
this?
ordinary characters
Ordinary characters.
that match any character string.
Okay. Let me see. I still want you all to confirm this because there's a slash dot in our notes. Let me double check. What does dot means? Yeah, hang on. Oh, yeah. Matches any character or string. Okay, continue.
So for our invalid, this is invalid because there are 9 characters. So for the second one, there are 2 alphabetical lowercase characters. So it is not 3 to 4, and it is not 1 to. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, thank you. The reason why I asked, right? Yeah, according to our slides, it's true. The meaning of the dot, but here, let me see. According to the answer given, up to 8 letters or numbers followed by a period, and minimum 3, but up to 4 lowercase alphabets. So this one, in fact, is to match a file name. For example, file name hello.jpg or hello.txt. That's why there's a dot there. This is to match file names. Okay, so perhaps you can confirm later. Up to 8 characters or numbers followed by a period and minimum 3 but up to 4 lowercase alphabets. Okay, how about the last group?
Hello.
Yes.
Okay, so for ours, right? For the interpretation, the first 3 letters must be WAD or WAB, followed by any 8 digit of numbers. So for the valid one here, as you can see, it's WAB and then followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is 8 digits of numbers. The next one is just WAD and then followed by 8 digits of numbers. And as for the last one, is the exact same as the second one. But for the invalid, even though the front 3 letters is WAD, but there's only 6 digits. The second one for the invalid one is not WAD or WAB, so this is definitely invalid. And for the last one, well, as you can see here, it's also the same line. It's not WAD or WAB.
Okay, so this is example of matching perhaps a student ID, because W starts, if it starts from W, it's KL, main campus. Okay, just that they didn't add in the first 2 digit the year join. Okay, all right. So I think I can stop the recording. Good job. Now for this week, chapter 8, it's about user control. And before we start, in fact, I've already shown you our Visual Studio, Microsoft Visual Studio. We have used several controls, the server controls, data controls, validation controls, login controls. Now we look at user control. Here, user control, it is something like a reusable code, all right? And then it will be a very simple chapter where these are what we will cover. First of all, how to create the user control, and then how to load this programmatically, means perhaps you can make it dynamic, okay, by using one of the built-in methods. And then before we end our chapter, there's one more control whereby it is meaning we can create our own control, means customize, okay, custom control. There's a bit of like similarity between user control and custom control. So what you need to get from this particular chapter is see when you should use a custom control, because there's a difference between user control and also custom control. Now, let's start with the definition. You first of all need to know what is a user control. In fact, it is a page. Okay, it is an ASP.NET page, and then the extension is .ascx. Okay, and then take a look at the example that I put in this slide. Okay, this is labels.ascx, a user control, a label user control, whereby what do we have in this ASCX file. We have two labels. Okay, one is for the username, and then another one is for the login time, and then the last one would be the login status. Okay, to show the logout link. So this is an example of a user control. Okay, so how can we use this user control? So let's take a look at the next page. So if you have this user control, the .ascx, okay, remember it is a ASP.NET page converted into a control. So you might be wondering, converted into a control. So let's see how we can create that. Hang on, here. When you want to create, normally we create a web form, master page. There's a web user control. Okay, and then the default extension is ASCX. That's how we create the user control. Let's go back to the previous slide. Okay, so what happened is that once you have this user control, you can place it within your other existing pages. For example, you have this main page, okay, and then you can add the user control, a label control to show information about the user. Okay, this is a very simple implementation. I'm sure you all can apply this in your assignment. Okay, exactly, or perhaps you want to come up with your own string of message and so on. Okay, now that you all know what is a user control, which is an ASCX page, okay, converted into a control means you create your own control rather than normally from the Visual Studio, from the toolbox, you click one of the control and then drag it to your work form, right? Okay, so the first bullet here says that our user control, our .ascx file can contain both HTML web controls. So HTML, perhaps a paragraph, okay, and then web controls like just now, the label, right? Okay, look at the second bullet. You can place multiple web form control in a user control and then expose them as a single control. So it depends on how you create your user control. Okay, so here we will use the word expose. You will understand later when we look at the codes, right? And then since we can place web form controls in our page, the ASCX, then it will also be using the same event handling, the one that we can see. Okay, next one. So why do we need this user control? Three things: reusability, okay, and then code reduction, and also to improve performance. Now, reusability, especially when you want to reuse the same content like you want to have a particular header, okay, a particular header for a specific login. So if this user login as, say, artist, this is the header. And then the user login as, say, customer, then you will have another header. Okay, this is a in terms of reusability. And then you can also reuse programming logic, okay, on multiple ASP.NET pages. Just now I mentioned about header, footer, perhaps, or menu, okay. Just now we have the label to display the user login status. And then what else? Advertisement. There's one example later that you will see. There's an advertisement. You can create an advertisement banner user control where you will detect, first of all, whether the user gender is male or female. If the user gender is male, then you will display a specific banner for this male visitor. Okay, otherwise if it's female, then you display another advertisement banner. So it's like you are reusing the same content. All right, and then here for our practical, okay, user control practical, how can we use this programming logic would be you need to make use of your state. Okay, you need to recall your state management chapter. We can use cookies, we can use session variable, cookies like normally if you set cookie, say the user is already registered as a male user, okay, or male member, then you store cookie for male is Emma. Okay, and then if it's female, then you register, store the cookie gender as female. And then from there, you can make full use of your advertisement banner user control. So let me show you once more. Okay, in a page, you can add in your user control as appropriate of the situation. Now, look at the improve of the performance, enable fragment caching. Let me see, we have learned about caching. Okay, for the server side and also client side, we allow caching. Normally, if it's a page caching or output caching, we will cache the whole page. But if we use user control, then we can enable the fragment caching. Means there's no need for us to cache the whole, the whole page. We only cache the one that is more or less like a stable content, okay, that will not change most of the time. So the one that will change is what? The user control. So perhaps you don't want to cache the user control. You might want to just cache the rest of the page. Okay, so with user control, you can enable fragment caching. Now the limitation, you will only like appreciate this particular explanation once we go through the examples of course. But for the time being, let's just go through these three limitation, meaning when we cannot use user control. You cannot use, or it's not ideal to use user control if there's a separation of your HTML from your coding, the code behind, right? And then it's also not ideal for data access method. Okay, when you have a data access, so that one is not suitable. In our example, you will see that we will make use of our variables where it is you need to declare properties. Okay, properties means variables. Okay, and then it is also not ideal for a control that is to be reused more widely than in just the application. Okay, so if you want something that can be reused more widely, then you should use a custom control. So what is a custom control? Custom control is something like, remember the Microsoft Visual Studio that I show you, the toolbox? Okay, we have the existing tools inside. We have lots of controls there. Custom control means we can create a control that we can add into our toolbox. So if something that you want it to be reused widely, okay, say for all, to be available for all of your application, then you create a custom control. User control is just meant for that particular application. Okay, right. Now, this is the question that I add into our class activity. The first question, why we need to use user control. as compared to master page. The one that I add in at the bottom there is the slide that we have from chapter 2 on master page. We use master pages to define layout. Okay, to define the layout to be used by all pages. And then say the header, the menu, it can be presented on every page. Now, if you recall, over here, the first advantage, same thing, it's almost similar. If we use user control, we can also reuse the same content, the headers, footers, menus, and so on. So let's take a look at this picture one more time. We can reuse this label user control, right? So then do we need user control? We can use master page. So this is where I want you all to read more and then give me your answer on the reasons of using user controls. Now, for this next question, I hope by going through this question, you will be more clear about when should we use user control and when should we use master page. Okay, so there are two scenarios here. Okay, the first scenario, you wish to add common functionality in all pages. For example, every page consists of a common header and footer. That is the first scenario. Second scenario, there are two different groups of users who can log into a website. However, different group of users will see different menu after logging in. From here, we definitely can see, okay, when should we use master page? Is it the first scenario or the second scenario? What do you all think? Which one should you use for scenario A? Should you use a master page or a user control? For scenario B, should you use a user control or a master page? For some, both are talking about say header, footer, common in all pages. Okay, menu. We can see menu. All right. For we can display our menu, but then in this case, which one is more suitable to be used? Master page for A. B is user control. Yeah, correct. So once you are clear on this, then I'm sure you're able to give the reason, okay, why we use the user controls. Okay, why we use the user control, especially when you have this programming logic. Okay, you want to reuse certain content, but for this particular logic. Okay. And then, yes, the correct answer has already been given. A, you use master page. B, you use user control. Okay, user control means it will only appear on some but not all pages depending on the login. So depending on the login, you need to have your session driver example. Okay, for a master page, because the content that is this we use master page for scenario A because the content is displayed in all pages. That's the keyword there, all pages. For user control, it's not all pages, but some of the pages. So just I already show you, this is how we create the user control. Just select the web user control and the default file name is .ascx. Now, how do we add the user control on a page? So say, let me show you the picture one more time. Say you have a page, in this example, shop.aspx, and you want to add in your user control. Okay, you have your ASCX user control. So how do we use it? Okay, let's go back to the slide just now. First of all, if you want to add your user control on a page, the first step is register first. So you register first, and then to register, the syntax is given here. Take note on the tag prefix and also the tag header. Because you will use this tag prefix and tag header when you add the user control. And then the source attribute is the name of your user controller, okay, .ascx file. Once you register the user control on the page where you want to add it, then the next step is you add in your user control by using this user control element. You start with the tag prefix, followed by a colon, followed by the tag name. And then as for the ID, make sure you use a unique ID lah, because you will be using it in your programming logic afterwards. Okay. Make sure that it is the same one, a unique ID. Now the question. Based on the information about a web user control below, so meaning we have tag prefix, my menu, tag name, main menu, source is menu.ascx. So what's the necessary codes to display the control? Okay, so I'll give you all a homework for this. If you want to display the control, what do you need to do first? Register dulu. After you register, then you can add the user control. The tag prefix is already given. The tag name is already given. The source is already given. And when you want to add the user control, you can give any unique ID for the user control. Okay, so that's how you answer question number 3. Now move on to question number 4. I'll give this as a homework for you all also. Provided the code snippets. So we have these 3 user control, okay, element. Control header, control menu, login main. So with the ID, control header, control menu, control login. Okay, so we have this. Write the necessary codes to register the respective user controls of. So we are assuming that for the first user control, we have header.ascx. And then the second user control, we have menu.ascx. And the third one, we have login.ascx. Now, the syntax to register is given right here. So you can come up with your own tag prefix. Okay, let me see. Oh, no. Because tag prefix and also tag name must match. Okay, must match with the one that you have here. Tag prefix is control. The text tag name is this one. All right. So I will leave this as a homework for you all. This is to register, yeah? Now let's move on to the next one. For a user control, we can expose both the properties and methods. It's something like your, we are dealing with the object-oriented thing here. Okay, a user control content, it can either be static or dynamic. If you want it to be dynamic, then that is done programmatically. The second learning objective that is shown earlier. Okay, here we expose the property, we expose the method. We use the word expose. You will understand why later. Now we start with properties first. Here, the public variables that you declare in your ASCX file will be exposed as properties of the user control. And if you have any function in your user control .ascx, then they will be exposed as methods. Now let's take a look at this example. say that we want to assign a value to a user control property. The one that we have here is a user control called page header. Okay, assuming that what you see here is a page header user control, it's a ASCX file, yeah. And then what do we have there? We have a label called page title, where initially we set the string as page title in user control. So notice that this is a variable, right? Okay, so you declare a public variable. So this public variable page title can be accessed by all pages that contains the page header control. All right, so when you load the page, say you want to use this page title property, yeah, okay, then you can display it on a label. All right, so you label, say you have a label page title dot text. That is how you display the page title on the label. Right. Now, what if depending on certain cases, certain logic, you don't want to show the default string, okay, page title in user control, because when you declare this public variable, you set the value. Can we do something about this to change the value? Yes, you can do that. That is shown in this particular slide, where to override the default title, then you can set the value of the page title property. So over here, this is where, let me go back to the previous slide, yeah, where all public variables that you declare in the user control file. Okay, let me show you. Okay, assuming that we have page header.ascx.cs, okay, you declare public variables. Okay, called page title. Let me go back. Okay. All public variables declared in the user control file are exposed as properties of the user control. So let's go to this particular slide. Notice that this is your user control, right? Text prefix page, tag name is header. Okay, look at one of the attributes here. We have, of course, we need a unique ID. One of the attributes here is a page title. So this is the meaning of all the public variables will be exposed as property. So this is a property, okay, property of the user control, where you can always change the value. You can always override the value of the property, what you have here initially. Okay. Now, another question. Assume that you have a user control convert.ascx, and then you have a property called mean value. So say you have a mean value property here for this particular convert.ascx. Demonstrate in code how to include the user control in the ASP.NET web page and set the minimum value to 1. Here you can use any appropriate naming for your tag prefix and tag name settings. I will let you all do this as homework as well, but let me give you a clue. If you want to include the user control in your ASP.NET web page, what is the first thing that you need to do? What is the first thing that you need to do? Register. Okay, make sure you register the user control first. You can use any appropriate tag prefix and tag name. Then you add the user control. And then referring to the example given here, then you look at how you can change the value of the mean value property. Okay, so to change it, might as well you refer to this example, as simple as that. Okay, this is how we can override the value of our property. Now we're done with the properties. Next one is, okay, I want to go back to the previous slide. Hang on. Okay, I think terlepas sudah. Okay, so we're done with the first one. All public variables will be exposed as properties of the user control. Now I'll go to the next one. Function. All the function content in our user control will be exposed as methods. Same thing, but this time it is methods. Okay, go to that particular aspect. How do we expose the methods in our user control? Say we want to have a method called check time. Okay, remember we have our page header user control earlier on. Okay, we still have our page header user control where we have the page title property. This time we add another label message, and we want this label message to display specific message. Okay, according to our programming logic, which is if the current time is less than 12 p.m., then we display good morning, else we display good day. So this is our programming logic. So we want to reuse, we want to reuse this label, but with this particular programming logic. So it would be nice, right? Like a good evening, Melissa, like Windows. Normally Windows will greet you nicely, good evening or good morning. Okay, how do they know that? You can like assume that another way of how user control can be used for your web application. Okay, so let's move on to the code behind. So just now we already seen the page header.ascx.cs, whereby we already have our page title. We declare a public variable called page title. Now, assuming that we want to create a method called check time, and then look at the check time method, we declare a local variable called message. Okay, initialize it with good day. If the login date dot hour, okay, notice that we have login date. We need to declare a public variable login date with the data type date time. If it's less than 12, you set the message to good morning, and then you set the message to the label text. So what does it mean? The public method will be accessed by all pages that contains the page header user control. So this is showing us the advantage, one of the advantages of using user control, reusability. Okay, so how do we use this? Perhaps we want to display this message, or we want to display this page header control in this page, home page. Okay, so we can do that. We just need to go to the code behind, page load. Okay, under page load, then you set the current date time to your this particular user control login date. Remember that login date is the property of the user control. That's why once you have created the user control with that particular ID, okay, you use the user control dot, okay, you access the property. It's a public property, that's why you can access it like this. Otherwise, then you will get cannot be accessed because it's private. So here, notice that it is public. Okay. Now, so after you give the initial value, which is the current date and time, then what happens is that we will convert it first. Okay, display the date. Okay, so display the date in a label, right? And then use back your user control, call the check time method. So in this particular example, it's making use of both the property and method of the user control. So it will call the check timer. So that's why, that's how we can display this. Okay. Let's see what's next. This is to load the user control programmatically. It means we can generate our user control dynamically using a method called load control. Load control, this is the example that I mentioned earlier, the advertisement. Say we want to load a specific user control based on the user's gender. If gender is male, then we load the male advertisement.ascx. Else, then we load the female advertisement.ascx. Okay. So can you use this for your artwork gallery? Okay. The code behind, okay, refer to the page load. You need to always check whether it's a prospect, yeah. With the initial value of gender is male. Here you create a control called control CTL. If gender is equal to male, then we use the load control method. Okay, the load control is how we can load the control dynamically. Okay, then we specify your user control file. Else, you load control this particular user control file. And then after that, you will place the user control by using the add method. Okay, .add method. Here there's a placeholder. We call it as PLH as the prefix, okay, for placeholder, .controls.add. So you will be using this in your practical exercise. And initially, this is a question, but I will give you all the answer. Okay, I will give you all the answer. So I change it to example instead. So for the previous questions, remember that you have question 2. Oh, question 2 we already answered. Question 3, 4, 5. Okay, and this is an example. You plan to display a personalized advertisement banner on the home page based on the gender of the user. So you can read on this example, and I've already provided to you with this particular course. So if you go through, we are in fact using the cookies, okay, for gender, and then the rest of the programming logic is similar to what we see here. Okay. The last part of our topic, I have a few more slides left. 1 minute to 11. I'll just continue for a while, yeah? Okay, hang on there. So the last part of our chapter is custom control. So you need to tell me, I did add in this question for your class activity. Describe the differences between a user control and a custom control. Okay, let's look at the custom control. There are 3 ways for us to create a custom control. You can derive it from existing control, or number 2, you can group existing controls together and then you get a new compile control, so we call it as composite. Or number 3, you derive it from this particular class, okay, a full custom control. And if you refer to these 3 ways to create a custom control, number 2, okay, the composite controls are most similar to our user controls, because what you see in our example, we can add in our web controls, all right, and then we can add the code behind for the programming logic. So they look similar, but then let me go through this by showing you the more obvious difference. Okay, user control is like your ASPX pages, but then it has already been converted into a control. Therefore, the extension is .ascx. But then custom control, they are not. These are pre-compiled components, a DLL file. Okay, so user control is good for static layout. Custom control is good for dynamic layout. And as what we see just now, user control support fragment caching, right? Custom control, they do not support caching. Okay, and then now take a look at the last one. Okay, the last one. We cannot add our user control to the toolbox in our Visual Studio, but for custom control, we can add our custom control that we have created to the toolbox in the Visual Studio. That's the most, obvious difference between these two. Okay, let me continue. Okay. For our syllabus, I can see that it's not so much on custom user control, but it's more on how to use the user control. Therefore, what you see here is I think it's something like a tutorial, okay, by this guy. It's quite an old tutorial, how to create and display a custom user control. So he created a custom control, an office look-alike dialog box. So you can imagine this custom dialog box added into your Microsoft Visual Studio toolbox. Okay, so if you are interested, the link is given there. But in our next slide, this is an example, a portion of the what we have in this particular tutorial. So you can see that this is how we add the custom control. This is adding the custom control, not the creating part. The creating part, we can refer to this example. To add that particular custom control, still the same, we must register first. But then there's a different property, okay, or attribute. We have assembly and namespace, but then the tag prefix is still there lah. So if your tag prefix is FWC, then that is your custom control, and you can name. Let me see, I don't see any, so meaning that is a dialog box, okay, with a unique ID, and then over there you can display the message for your custom dialog box. In this case, just a simple hello world. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Okay, that's it. Next week, we will be doing exception handling. So we have covered validation control, which you need to add into your assignment. The prototype extension of your prototype, you can add in the user control, and exception handling will be covered next week. And that's about it for today. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Okay, welcome. Bye-bye.